Okay, we are the Haparanda Tornio bunch. Yes, first the location, the geography, the topography, and here you see the situation up in the Baltic Sea, and here is the borderline that was drawn by the Russian Tsar in 1809. It happened to be there. And after 1917, we have Finland on the eastern side. And these are our municipalities are rather small. You can see that Haparanda's number of inhabitants is less than 10,000 people. Tornio has a bit more than double, and they are situated very close to each other, and the border goes like this. This is the Torne River, and this was the old Swedish town of Tornio, a very important trading town. But the Tsar took this part too in 1809. But the location we think is very central, and the map you see here, it's of course Haparanda Tornio in the middle, but this was shown to Ingvar Kamprad, the director of IKEA. And our mayor in Haparanda said that Haparanda Tornio is enormously centrally located because we have Russia up here with Murmansk, we have Norway, we have industrial towns like in Oulu and Luleå and so forth. So actually his motives, his explanation did result in a IKEA warehouse in a small town of less than 10,000 inhabitants. Yes? Video? Can you press? You're the technician.
Okay, because we will see. Can you do this?
This is what we do at the border.
It's silent.
I think for me the identity of living here on the border, I didn't, when I was younger I felt like there was no identity, because either way I was a Finn living in Sweden. That was something that was, so I wasn't living in my own country because I was Finn in Sweden, and then when I went to Finland, then I was a Swede in Finland, so I was not home either. So that's why I think we said we live in Ingenmansland, which is
No man's land.
No man's land. Yeah.
I think it's very interesting for your mind to live at the border, because you don't think like more homogeneous, like you get, I think, a broader thinking somehow, because you are not only in the Swedish state and the Swedish nation. There is something else the whole time. So somehow I think you can maybe be more broader somehow to impressions in the world somehow, when you know that there are very clearly there are other systems, other language than, of course. But of course, big towns also have this multicultural aspect, but we have it in a small scale somehow.
Yes, Finnish is my feeling language.
Mm-hmm.
It's the emotional language, whereas
Yeah.
Swedish is the sort of business language, if you would say. But then English is my inspiration language.
Mm-hmm.
So for all three different languages, I have different relations.
I buy snus, of course.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Snus.
I don't have it on me, but Swedish tobacco I buy in Sweden because it's illegal to sell in Finland.
Chewing tobacco.
Chewing tobacco. So we have a big smuggling industry. There is a lot of. We also there's a culture of smuggling, of course, on the border.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of young people who are getting their food on the table by transporting Swedish tobacco to Finland, where there is a huge demand of the product.
I think I crossed the border not to go to Finland. Well, it could be for buying butter, but in that case, I think it is the two towns are one town. So it's like, I want to have lunch. Why do I want to eat lunch? And then I don't think, should I eat it in Sweden or in Finland? It's like, I'm thinking what restaurant to go to. Or if I want to get out and have a beer or whatever. It's like, well, it's not that easy in Haparanda in that way. No, but because there are more like bar culture in Tornio, because it's bigger, but also it's because it's Finnish, I think. If I would like to go to karaoke, I mean, I have to go to Finland. So it's, but and because it doesn't exist really, it doesn't have that culture in Sweden.
I was thinking that during the pandemic, when the border was closed, it became so clear how important an open border is, and how I and many people missed the other side, that we could not cross the border. It was very tough time.
Yes.
I think it became very clear.
Yes. Yes, it was a really, really difficult time. It's kind of like you had to tell them that you were to go to your grandfather's grave, so then you could get access.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So I think there is some border therapy needed.
Yeah.
definitely. Well, maybe we're doing it now. Maybe we're doing border therapy.
Yeah.
Just to discuss the
Yes.
issues.
Yes. So we'll make some presentations. Short, very shortly.
Yes, very short. So here are some keywords. Yes, I'm very short. Yes, so I am all about anthropology of art, which is studying how we make objects and also how objects make us. And then we have embodied knowledge, which is related to the anthropology of art. It's kind of how we process when we make art and things. And Dharma, yes, I'm always asking why am I here and what should I do? So I'll leave it at that. And Finnish at heart, Swedish by birth. My parents are from Finland, but I was born in Sweden. So that's me.
Well, I'm a photographer at the moment, but in general a culture and media worker with publishing and making exhibitions, and I'm very specialized in the north, in the Arctic or the Barents region actually, which is northern parts of Norway, Sweden, Finland and Russia.
Hello, I'm Ville. I was born in Finland, but raised up in Sweden, and then went abroad for 20 years, and now I'm back in Finland. And I'm working with innovative systems, new economical models. I do theater on the Swedish side. I like to express myself, and Pia wrote Sisu there, so if you want to know what Sisu is, you can talk to her maybe on some break. But I can say it's a Finnish superpower that I'm a little bit low on. So maybe we can have a further discussion on that on some break. Thank you.
And I'm Anna. I have to check what I wrote. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a lighting designer from the background. Theater, working on theaters, but then also I have been outside the theaters, like in parks or whatever. So I actually do the lighting design all over. But nowadays I'm most teaching in that, and I'm a freelancer, so maybe 2 or 3 productions in lighting design for theater or performance art per year. And when I'm not teaching and when I'm not doing that, I'm doing sound art. So actually I would say I'm more into sound art. And what I really like working like with theater and things when you are in a group. I really like that. And you are like from different parts. But the problem is that it's not that easy to find productions where you can do that, yeah, a group. And when you're working with sound art, it's more easy because when I'm working with lighting design, I want to have my group working together with, because the lights need to be on something. But working with sound, it's kind of easier when you're alone. So I like the mixture, but then I also have been using the sound into productions. So it's like a mixture right now. And I also write there Haparanda. Yes, Haparanda is an association. We have been founded for some years ago. I and Kenneth and our friend Pia. So we have been doing a lot of cultural projects, like when we mix different cultural and art things, meeting people in different ways. And we're actually living in Haparanda, Tornio. We are always working together somehow, because they are small towns, people have been moving, so people actually know each other. I didn't when I moved there. And I could say 70% in Haparanda, they speak Finnish. So when you don't speak Finnish, you are a minority. So I belongs to that part. I don't speak Finnish. And I moved like from the west coast, the second biggest town in Sweden, up to the little town. And I could see when I moved up there to Haparanda, I actually didn't know anything about that part. And I didn't even know that it was a kind of border countries. So that's why I'm still there, because I think it's really exciting. And the next picture, it's just a little mix of what I am doing, and most of that is actually about sound. And I put a question mark about the future, because I was thinking about what have I been doing with sound, and what could I do in the future, maybe with you or other people. But it is something always for me to do things together. But you can work alone or you can work in a group. And the first thing is actually a performance I did now in September. It's like a kind of sound machine I've been doing and performing with different things moving, but also with electronic parts, and I'm mixing them. And then doing it for a small group, and it has always been, when I've been doing it afterwards, like we are together talking about what is it, or what could it be, or what people's association have been to that part. And I think it's really nice do things live, to see them or to do, and then to be there together, and then you come together somehow. And another picture, like workshop, doing things. I think it's very nice, doing things in a group, different workshops. It could be workshops with anything, but just the doing. It is something happening when you are in a group. For me, it could be cooking or whatever, but you can have a workshop leader or you can just decide. But the doing, for me, is like you actually come together, and in the end, maybe it ends in something you didn't know when you started the workshop. And I also have a poster there, a sound festival we will have every second year. So the next year will be in November 2023. We called it Haparanda, yes, like, yeah, Haparanda. And in that case, we also made, we don't call it a sound art festival, we call it a sound festival. But inside it, it's a lot of sound art. And when I'm talking about sound art, I think about art. But what is art? I mean, then you can talk about it, whatever. But like, it was really nice when we did it last time. We had it at the railway station, that is official place. And for people, when they hear sound art, maybe they don't come. But if you have it in an official place and you call it sound festival, suddenly, and we had it at the same time as a festival in Tornio. That was a light festival. And we worked together in the way we marketing our festivals, and we had the program, so we could go to each other's festivals. So it was very nice at that festival, like the people, Finnish and Swedish people come there, and then we went to the other festival. And it was also very nice that you could see that you can present whatever in sound. When you are together in group, nobody thinks it's strange or anything, just interesting, and people just wanted to stay. And so I think it's never anything that is strange, actually. You can do whatever. And the last, the Zoom picture here, I think also, that one. It's just an example about, I mean, we started, most of us, maybe with the Zoom meetings, whatever, during the corona. But I have also seen that it's really possible to make like workshops. I've been doing it for a weekend together with sound art people in different places in Sweden, and we decided we started on Friday, ended on Sunday, and had set small meetings, and we were actually doing something together during that weekend, and it's also a kind of live situation for me. So that was just small examples. I'm thinking about how can you work also maybe with you somehow. Okay, Kenneth, it's you about the future. There.
Well, a question mark here too, but some projects are a bit started and some are visions. International Border Museum, I have proposed this for our municipality a couple of times, still without result. But the border is actually our main attraction, I would say, in Haparanda, Tornio. It's without the border, well, it's not so interesting. So a border museum can be an attraction, but it can also be a meeting point for research, for seminars, for different purposes. Residents feels very natural that we that live in twin towns have a lot to learn to visit each other's, to feel the things that we know, and to be confronted with other similar places. I think it can deepen our understanding of this phenomena of twin cities. Homepage, webcams, etc. Anthology is already started. I heard from Tunnel about border stories in different forms. Smuggling project also. It's very good to hear that we have some similar inputs and possibilities. But just a short thoughts, and these things will come up.
Okay, so
now I explain a little bit about me and Pia, what we have been doing, because we are like two groups of people joining our forces here today, from Finnish side and Swedish side. So what we are working with Pia is the setup of kind of a meta working space, so that we can be able to create creative spaces wherever we are. Is this in the right order? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it's we start from a group of people who have different kind of knowledge base, and have found that they're not really keen to be part of creating something in the old fiat system, so to say. So we have been brainstorming about ways to create a space in which we can safely create together, and create something that is sustainable and something that the world really needs. To support this, the physical space in which creation can happen, like this space, we have been working with that digital technological tool which could support this creative space. So we are currently working with different kind of innovators in order to be able to create an application which allows us to navigate, maybe navigate within these border towns and share knowledge and inspiration together, and also in the future be able to get the compensation for the value that we create in the system due to some blockchain monetary system, where value is aggregated into tokens and can be shared. So it's like also a research project of new economical systems. Maybe, yeah, they're a little bit, maybe. Okay, maybe Pia works with the anthropological side of this, how human being is experiencing creation. I'm the economist behind this, so maybe Pia can.
Yes. Well, yes, I'm short. Yes, so here I was starting to think about all the different spaces that you could have within this application or community. So for example, the physical space, which is the next slide. So you could have, I was actually inspired when we had the talk with Tanel and Michael about the physical space, which would be a kind of a community hall. Because we have separate buildings in Finland and Sweden, but we don't have one on the border. And again, I think this connects with Kenneth's idea of a border museum, which also could be a part of this knowledge space. And the next slide. Yes, so in this border app conceptual framework, you could have something where you share and innovate ideas, and you have learning and you create projects. And then I realized it goes with you were talking about networks earlier. So this kind of fits in with that too. So I'm realizing as we were talking and listening to people that everything is could actually find a place within the projects here. Could we have the next? Oh yes, so the emotional space. Also thinking about this sort of connecting with people, that maybe sometimes when you have a lot of ideas and you don't really know where to project them, so you might need to have a space, even if it's online, that you feel like you can trust people. So that's also part of this concept. And I think this is yours, Ville.
Okay. Yeah, so how I'm thinking that if we have a space, physical space that allows for experiences, feelings to be shared, and thoughts to be generated, that's also a kind of a self-development platform, so that we can be ourselves and research different aspects of ourselves, and also share the knowledge that we generate in our inner world, and maybe even find some functionalities for our inner creations in the outer world. Yeah, so what we are looking for people who share the thoughts that we are generating, and who to do something together that is great and what is needed on this planet, and to also find problems that other areas and people have, because problems are as important as is the solutions. The solution is not really valuable until it can be pinpointed into a problem that society accepts, and then it can become a project. And also we are looking for different areas to test different ideas and see, like, follow the results. Okay, what happens when we do this? And then we get some scientific proof of how reality works actually, in order to be able to utilize this knowledge in a larger scale creations. Yeah, so with the focus of art and creativity, we invite you to join this process of creating this meta cartel, maybe I could say, of creation, and hope that you and we all find something of value here together. Thank you.